Hi, today we're going to talk about Doily Designs crosses and how I finish those up. And I have a few here. I have this one, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a jewel for this. And these dragon's tears, hopefully y'all can see this, work really good for this. And I just use some silicone caulk seal. You could use another adhesive and put a small drop of that and adhere it to the cross. And I'm going to see, I haven't stiffened one yet. We're going to see how that works out and how, if we should put on our jewel before or after we do this. So I've made a stiffener of half and half of glue and water, and I'm going to stiffen. I was going to stiffen this big cross, that's why I had the big bowl. But I think we'll start out with this tiny cross here. And so I've made my mixture of glue and water with 50%. I am using white glue. I'm also hoping that's not going to make a difference. As I recall, last time I stiffened, it was with white glue and it was fine because it was black yarn. So if it didn't show up there, it won't show up here. I'm also hoping that's going to be enough. I might add a little bit more water. And I would suggest doing this in a spot. I'm doing it in the bathtub, to be completely honest with you, I guess. And just do this somewhere where you're not going to make a mess. So then I just put my cross in that glue mixture. And I'm going to get it completely wet and probably let it sit here for about 5-10 minutes. Make sure all that yarn soaks up the glue. And then maybe I'll go ahead and do that big one too. I'm just trying to work all that into the yarn. And see how it's going to coat my jewel, and that will dull it, but since it is just Elmer's glue, I can probably wipe that off. But yeah, I'd probably wait and do it after I had these stiffened to be the best route. That seems the best route. So then I'm just going to let that sit for 5 or 10 minutes. And I really like my big cross, but it is really floppy, so I am going to also stiffen it while I'm doing this. And hope that I have enough. For that one I used 1 cup total with just under a half a cup of glue and half a cup of water. Just over half a cup of water. And see how I've already run out. This yarn doesn't soak up water as easily. And this one's going to take a lot longer to get it all in there. I may just use my hands and just work it in there. And then once I've let these sit for a little while, I'm going to get a piece of foil and I'm going to paper towels, and I'm going to blot out the excess liquid and glue liquid that's in the yarn with the paper towels, and then let them dry on my foil. And I'm just soaking all that glue up. I may just squeeze it out in here instead of using the paper towels. And that'll give my other one more. And I've honestly only done this myself a couple of times. So we're kind of experimenting here together. Let's see how these turn out. So I will go ahead and let this big one stay in the bowl and squeeze out the small one. And get any excess liquid out of it. And then I'll lay it out on my foil. So this one might be a little bit so then I'm just kind of going to block it here the best I can. Without needles. I could use needles if I wanted to. I could go get my mat and just put this under the foil and go ahead and block it on there. In fact, I might go ahead and do that because I want my points to be pointy. So I will do that, and I will see y'all after it dries a little bit, and we'll see how those turn out.